Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Duggan Daily Dish. I'm Jamie Duggan, and this is my kitchen. Tonight is one of my favorites, and I know one of my mom's favorites. It's cheesy enchiladas. They're pretty much easy to make. You gotta do a little bit of prep work, but they are really delicious and totally worth what you have to go through. So I've made this a couple times, and if you follow the link to the recipe, it tells you not to use the soft flour tortillas. I've used them. It's not that bad. They're a little bit chewy. I'm not a huge fan of corn tortillas, but I figured I'd try it again with the corn tortillas. It makes it, I don't know, it brings out the flavor differently, so it's not going to be as doughy. If you don't mind doughy, go ahead and use the flour tortillas if you want. You don't want to get the big ones though. You basically want to get, I guess these are taco size, maybe? These ones. They're pretty much small. The corn tortillas you can't find in a bigger size, so these are the only size you can really get. But they're like a taco size. There's actually, at Aldi's, they have them in a 30 count. So, I only need 12. We'll see how many fits in my enchilada mix. I might need a little bit more. We'll see how it turns out in my pan. But usually this calls for 12, and I did buy less cheese this time, just because I thought about a 4-cup, which I need, and I only bought 3 cups. So guess what? We're gonna deal with 3 cups. Okay, that's enough for me gabbing. Let's get to cooking. Is to put a little bit of oil in the bottom of a pan, olive oil, and then you're going to throw in some onions, and you're going to cook them for 5 to 6 minutes. If you follow the recipe that I put out on the website below, you'll see that they do heat their corn tortillas in the pan. They become really greasy when I do that, so I really don't like to do it. And these ones are really soft and palatable that you really won't need to cook them so that you can fold them. So if you want to take that step, go ahead and try it. I've tried it a couple of times, and I just don't like the way they turn out. I've also tried the soft tortillas, and like she says in the recipe, they will get, mushy, but that's okay. But I did decide to try to do corn tortillas again, and this time I'm not going to do the oil, and we'll see how they turn out. Change it up every time I make it, so let me get these onions cooked, and I'll be right back. Okay, so my onions are translucent, and they're starting to brown, so I'm going to go ahead and add garlic. And you're going to cook that for 1 minute more. Okay, now you're going to add your crushed tomatoes, and they want you to try to use fire roasted if you have it, which sometimes it's hard to get crushed fire roasted tomatoes, but I was able to find it at Aldi's, surprisingly. It keeps surprising me every time I go. There's fire roasted salsa style tomatoes, and that is perfect for this recipe. So you want to go ahead and throw those guys in. Throw that around a little bit. And then you're also going to add in a can of diced green chilies. Plop those guys right in there. And this is just a 4-ounce can. And this just adds a little bit of heat to this recipe. It is absolutely delicious. Okay, so after you go add that, then you're going to add a half a cup of water. Okay, so you went ahead and added your water, and then you're going to add some oregano. Now here's the story about this oregano. I actually found this at a grocery store. I was looking for a Mexican type of oregano for one of my recipes that I used before. It actually called for Mexican oregano. I didn't even think the thing existed. I was looking for regular oregano. Found this, and I don't know why it's different, but it is, and it's completely delicious. So it's just badaya. And I don't know why it's different, but it is. So you want to put a half a teaspoon of this in there. And then you want to bring this thing up to a boil. I'm sorry, not a boil, to simmer. Don't boil it, you want to simmer it. Throw that right in there. And then you're going to simmer it. And then give it a little taste. If it tastes a little bit too vinegary, you might want to put a little bit more sugar into it. So it's by your standards, however you like it. So we're just going to kick the heat up a little bit. This is pretty much very easy to do. It just takes a little bit of prep work, and it really doesn't take that long to cook in the oven because we're not using meat. It's a Friday, and in our house we don't eat meat on Friday, so this is a wonderful recipe on a Friday. Okay, so we're up to a simmer with the sauce here, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit of taste, just to see, because if it's too vinegary for you, which it can with a depending on what kind of tomatoes and stuff that you use, it can get a little bit vinegary because of the sauce that the tomatoes are in. So go ahead and give it a try. I think I might add just a little bit of sugar. You don't need that much. Throw your sugar in there and just give it another taste. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you're tasting vinegar or just spice. But that was definitely more vinegar than I really wanted. So. That is much better. Okay, so now we get to put this thing together. Okay, so let's put this puppy together. My oven is all ready. So the first thing you have to do is you want to put a little bit of oil on the bottom of your casserole dish. Olive oil is no way. Okay. So you don't need that much. And this is just into a 3-quart casserole dish. And this is just to help when you're baking these tortillas, that they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. Plus it adds a little bit of oil flavor to your corn tortillas, especially since we didn't cook them over a heat to get that little bit of corn flavor going. So all you're going to do is you are going to take your corn tortillas, and this calls for 12. If you have room for more, you can definitely put more in there. And this is just Mexican style cheese. You can use a hotter cheese if you want. I'm not a big fan of that, so I always opt for the cheaper stuff. This is the easiest part. You're going to take a tortilla, and these are soft and pliable, which is why I said you don't need to really heat them up in the oil. And you're going to fill it 2/3 with your cheese. If you want to, you can probably make this with chicken or steak. I just haven't tried because we like to use this on a Friday so that we're not eating all fish or all mac and cheese. Alright, and then you are going to roll it. And then you are going to make sure that that side that you rolled on the bottom goes down there. And you're going to stick these all that you can fit into your casserole dish. And that's a quick and easy step to do. So I'll be back after I'm done with them. Okay, so I was actually able to get about 10 corn tortillas out of that instead of 12. So what we're going to do next is you're going to put the sauce that we just used on top of your tortillas. And you want to make sure that the sauce is thin enough. If you were able to see, which sometimes I know it's hard for you to see in the pan, but it may seem a little bit watery to you, but that's okay because we need it to cover the entire dish. If it's not watery enough, you want to add a little bit of water to your sauce. So go ahead and pour that right on top. You want to spread it out once you get it in there so that all your tortillas are covered in the sauce. So basically just spread your sauce around. I do notice, since I didn't cook the corn tortillas in the stove top pan before doing this, they are soft. When you try to roll them, they're a little bit tougher. They'll start to crack. And if that happens to you, just be really careful when you're rolling these puppies. So this, put it over here. Now I should have added a little bit more water, but we're gonna take it. It's okay. Some of it actually is really watery. It's just not spreading out. So you want to make sure that you spread it out as much as you can, and then you are going to throw the cheese that you have left over on top. Which I have a ton of cheese left. We love cheese in this house. If you haven't already figured that out. Better do there. The reason you want to make sure that they're covered in the sauce is because that helps soften them, so that when you pull them out of the oven, they're not crunchy. But if you like crunchy enchiladas, then I guess you won't mind, will you? Hey, I just cook for fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't own a diner for a reason. Because if I did, I'd eat all of my food and then you'd gain a lot more weight than I already have. Okay, so now all you're gonna do is, yes, I'm cheating again. Alright, so you're going to put this in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until the cheese melts, and that's all you have to do. So I'll be back after that's done, and I'll have it placed out for you. See you then. Okay, so we are done. I want to show you. I was going to lift it up. I don't think I'm going to do that because it's really hot, and I don't want to do this. We'll do this. Look how cheesy that is. Does that look amazing or what? Delicious. Oh, sorry if I just got you guys sick before dinner. It's been a very long day for me. It's snowing like a banshee out there in Pittsburgh. I'm sure you're all getting hit. First biggest snowstorm of 2016. So this is a nice, delicious, warm meal. Keep us all warm and comfy. And then all I do at the end is I just pop on some cilantro. To add a little bit of Mexican flair. And then I'm going to plate this up, and I'll be right back. Okay, there you go. A delicious, beautiful meal. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you try it. Let me know if you liked it. See you next time.